Hello, ladies, gents, and fairy friends. My name is Cedric. This is Cedric's Library, and today I want to start a series with, for honors, poster boy or girl, Warden. What is the series? Simply, I created a TTRPG inspired by For Honor, Warhammer 40k, and D&D, and today you are gonna learn how you create your character in this TTRPG, starting with Warden. Now at level 1 you get 1d10 plus your constitution modifier SHP. Your primary ability is strength, so it would be beneficial if your best stat is strength. Not necessarily, but it would be beneficial. Your saving throw proficiencies are strength and wisdom, meaning, again, it would be beneficial if strength and wisdom were your best stats. It's not binding, but it would be beneficial. You gain proficiency with medium and heavy armor. You gain proficiency with long swords, and you can choose 2 of the following abilities to be proficient in: athletics, persuasion, history, intimidation, insight, and investigation. Now, in addition to that, you can choose one of the following feats at level 1. These feats are the feats that Warden has in the 4v4 game modes, being Death Toll. Killing a soldier or minion grants you 1d4 of healing. This is usable a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier, minimum of 1, and you regain all spent uses after a long rest. Conqueror. You have advantage on intimidation throws. In addition to that, you gain +2 additional damage to your next attack. This is usable once per turn and a number equal to your wisdom modifier. You regain all spent uses after a long rest. And lastly, Come at Me. This feat can be used once per long rest as a bonus action. If it is activated, for the next 1 minute you deal 1d6 more damage, but take 1d4 more damage as well. This feat automatically ends if you are downed. So far for level 1. Now coming to level 2. At second level you gain the ability Shoulder Bash. What does this ability do? Simply, once on your turn as a bonus action you can charge an enemy that is within 5 feet of you with a shoulder bash. This is counted as an unarmed attack. If an enemy gets hit with a shoulder bash, you gain an extra attack action that can only be used to make 1 attack, even if you could make 2 or more per attack action. You can use this feat a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. Now, level 3 is the, in my opinion, most interesting level, because you get your subclass. Warden has 3. The Oath of the People, Oath of the Church, and Oath of Nobility. Let's look at Oath of the People first. At level 3, when you choose this oath, whenever you are on a mission that is given to you by a peasant, or that has the objective of defending peasants or their belongings, you gain 1d4 temporary hit points at the start of the day until you take your next long rest. At the next day you gain them again, and this repeats as long as the mission is going on. Meaning, day 1 you accept the mission, you get 1d4 more hit points. Day 2, in the night from day 1 to day 2, in the long rest, you lose that 1d4 hit points extra. But at day 2, at the break of day, when you start, you get 1d4 hit points additionally back. Meaning, this doesn't stack, but you will get 1d4 hit points per day more as long as this mission is going on. At level 5, this 1d4 becomes 2d4, at level 10 this becomes 3d4, and at level 15 this becomes 4d4. Yes. The Oath of the Church. Once per long rest, you get advantage against being charmed or intimidated for 1 minute. In addition to that, and for the duration of this ability, your weapon deals 1d4 radiant damage in addition to its regular damage. At level 5, the radiant damage is boosted to 2d4. At level 10, this ability now lasts 3 minutes. And at level 15, the radiant damage is boosted to 4d4. Now, the Oath of Nobility. You carried a sigil or something similar that identifies you as nobility or an affiliate, or an affiliate of nobles. Twice per long rest, you can gain advantage on persuasion, charisma checks. I am so sorry. Twice per long rest, you can gain advantage on persuasion, charisma checks if you reveal this sigil. In addition to that, you can rally forces around you in the midst of battle if you reveal the sigil, signaling that nobility is on their side. This may sway the battle in your favor and prevent your army from routing. At level 5, whilst being rallied, the minions under your control gain 2d4 temporary hit points. At level 10, whilst you are in combat and have revealed your sigil to your troops, every minion in a 15 feet radius of you has advantage against being frightened, which lowers the chance of routing again. At level 15, your sigil now resembles you as well as your nobility or noble allies. If it is revealed, you have the ear of each noble and they give you the benefit of the doubt, also enabling you to maybe sway their opinions. Now, given this last ability is mostly DM driven, but I trust. Level 4. At level 4 you gain an ability score improvement, meaning you can boost one of your abilities. At level 5 you get the tier 2 feats that Warden has in 4v4 game modes, meaning Inspire. All allies in a radius of 10 feet deal 1d6 more damage with each of the designated weapons, and soldiers or minions gain 1d4 hit points for up to 1 minute. This is usable a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier, minimum of 1, and can be activated as a bonus action. You regain all spent uses after a long rest. And this again doesn't stack. Enfeeble. If you hit an enemy with your shoulder bash, their next attack deals 1d4 less damage. This feat cannot be stacked on the same creature more than once. Thrilling Comeback. Once on your turn, if you kill an enemy, you regain 1d4 temporary hit points. This can stack up to 3 times. And also, you gain an extra attack. At level 6 you again gain an ability score improvement. At level 7 I wanted something funny. You gain the Archer's Guard feat. Archer's Guard says, you can throw your sword in a range of 20 feet as an action. This deals 1d8 plus your strength modifier piercing damage and counts as a weapon attack. This action disarms you. Retrieving your weapon takes 1 action. If a creature is hit with this attack, they make a strength saving throw with a DC of 8 plus proficiency modifier plus your strength modifier. If they fail, they get knocked prone. You can use this feat a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier, minimum of 1 per day. You regain all spent uses after a long rest. Now we make a jump to level 8. At level 8, your experience on the battlefield has shaped your abilities. You can now use the Charged Shoulder Bash feat. Charged Shoulder Bash says, once on your turn and as an action, you can now charge an enemy that is within 10 feet of you with a shoulder bash. The target creature makes a DC 8 plus your proficiency modifier plus your strength modifier dexterity saving throw or be knocked prone. In addition to that, you can take the attack action after your charged shoulder bash hits, your sword dealing 1d12 plus your strength modifier instead of its normal damage. You can use this a number of times equal to half your Warden level rounded down. You regain all spent uses after a short or long rest. Meaning you can use this probably more often, but this uses up a whole action. At level 10 you gain the tier 3 feats. You can choose one. Total recovery. If you stabilize an ally, instead of having 1 HP, they are stabilized with 1 plus their constitution modifier. This can be used a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier, minimum of 1. You regain all spent uses after a long rest. Second wind. As a bonus action you can heal yourself for 3d6 plus your constitution modifier. This is usable once per long rest. And Pugno Mortis. As an action you can throw a bomb up to 20 feet from you. This bomb explodes in a radius of 10 feet, dealing 3d6 force damage. The damage is only dealt when an enemy or ally in the explosion radius fails a DC 8 plus your dexterity plus your proficiency modifier dexterity saving throw. This is usable once per short rest. At level 12 and 14 you gain an ability score improvement. At level 15 you will have access to the tier 4 feats. Again, you can only choose one. Trebuchet. You call in a trebuchet strike up to 60 feet away from you that deals blunt damage in a radius of 20 feet. Creatures, enemies and allies alike that are within the impact range have to make a DC 8 plus your proficiency modifier plus your wisdom modifier dexterity saving throw or take 7d6 blunt damage. This can be used as an action and the ability is regained once you finish a long rest. Stalwart Banner. You plant a banner on the ground that heals your allies for 10 plus your wisdom modifier at the start of their turn if they are in a 15 feet range of the banner. This lasts for 4 rounds, can be used as an action and you regain this feat after you finish a long rest. Morale Booster is the last one. All allies in a range of 15 feet from you gain 2d4 extra damage on one attack they make on their turn. This lasts for 4 rounds, can be used as an action and you regain this feat after a short rest. Now level 18 you get your last ability score modifier and at level 20 you get your capstone ability. For Warden this is the follows. At level 20 you now can feint your shoulder bash, charged or not, granting you advantage on your next attack. This can be used a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier. Regain 1d4 uses after a short rest and you gain all spent uses after a long rest. This basically is the Warden class I made. Now please, if you noticed anything that seemed out of place, weird, or anything I forgot, please hit me up, mention it to me. I will gladly look into that. Until then, don't get lost in the Feywilds and keep hydrated. Bye bye!